Hey everyone, Charles here, and first of all, thank you for stopping by my podcast. If this show inspires you, makes you think, or gives you that courage to jump into action, please help by donating to this show. Click the link in the description and donate. Your donation helps us with production and finding great guests moving forward. Thank you and enjoy.
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
You know you should be doing something different, right? Hey, I'm talking to you. Do you believe that you have the gift for greatness or have a special talent, but don't have the courage to take that next step? Always wondering how others made it look so easy? Well, welcome to Jump, the show that will bring you special guests just like you and me. How did they get the courage to jump into greatness? Doing what they love and living the good life. So, get ready to jump with your host, Charles Matthews Jr.
Good morning. It's another happy Thursday, and I hope everybody's feeling great. And I'm feeling fantastic, and I'll tell you why. It's about a year or two ago, I interviewed this lovely lady, and Facebook, shouting out Facebook, they better give me some credits for this, gave me a reminder that I actually interviewed her. And it's funny enough, we already had this interview set, so I'm happy to be here. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my special guest. This is Kamshuka. Give her a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm so happy to be here. I cannot believe 2 years can go by that fast.
I know. I was looking at the pictures. I was like, wow. And then I remember we went for lunch afterwards, and we had another 2-hour conversation.
Amazing.
But it was real good. It's real good. Now listen,
yes.
If people don't know who you are, please give them a little background.
Okay, just in a nutshell, I'm an author and a speaker. My name is Kamshuka, and my entire focus and my mission is to help people find healing from their past experiences. So I'm all about shifting mindsets and changing our patterns in the way we think, and just thinking about how we could use our stories and our journeys to take us to the next level. So not being stuck as the victim, but rising in a warrior spirit and really taking over and taking charge of what it is that's promised to us, and that is life. So that's me in a nutshell.
All right. Now, the reason you came on my show the first time is you had a book. Mm-hmm. And then, I'm giving you some insights. Is there something else coming out? Like, is there something bigger coming out?
I'm so excited because sometimes, we don't understand our evolution, and the step that I took, which was very scary, was coming out with that first book and not realizing what was going to be birthed later. So yes, I'm working on another 2 books actually, and I'm just excited because 2019 is, I feel like it's the year of manifestation, and this year was preparation. So yes, I have so many amazing things coming out, and I'm just really excited about it.
All right. So give us some knowledge on what you do and how did you come up with the first book, and how you became an author and a speaker and a life coach, because tell people what happened in your story.
See, I always play the victim of my story, and not because I chose to be a victim all the time. Circumstances and our situations sometimes put us in a place where we don't have the choice. I was a war child survivor, as a very young child of the Ugandan Civil War. And that's not a choice I made, but that's what my journey and my story gave me. And I decided to write the first book, which is called Becoming Warrior, because I realized that everything we go through, everything that life gives us and hands to us, and everything we have to figure out is to prepare us for the moment when we can actually understand why we went through those things. And so what I decided to do was to write that book and really help people understand what the journey looks like. It's not the destination, it's the journey and what happens along the way. And so I started to talk about becoming warrior, which was becoming, a warrior from a victim mentality. So changing my mindset about how I see myself. Who am I? Why am I really here? Why do I keep going through situations? What's next for me? And so that's where I began the journey of writing. And writing that book was just an absolute amazing feeling. But it also gave me so much insight to, our state. And our state being that we are people who need to constantly understand that the potential we have is so much greater than, the things we've been through. And how do we get to our potential? It's in the healing process, and everyone heals in a different way. So that was one of the things that I thought, okay, I need to talk about the healing process, because everyone's talking about self-love and self-care. Well, okay, so how do we get there? And so I started to talk about healing and what that meant and what it means for each person. And so
right,
just getting started on becoming warrior is taking me to that next level of healing.
Right, because people don't understand that, yes, everybody goes through something.
Right.
It's how do we go above it? And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, we understand. Mm-hmm. We went through something. Either we can suffer or we become this, as you like to say, this warrior being.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then how'd you know? Like, okay, so you went through things when you were smaller. Mm-hmm. How did you know and when did you know, okay, I got to become this, as we call this, warrior princess?
I didn't notice the process. I didn't realize that's what was happening. But I did realize that every time I went through something that was painful, heartbreaking, sorrow, just, bring my spirit down, I did notice that I'd need a moment where I would accept what was happening. And then from that moment, I would have to decide what I wanted to do next. So do I want to stay in the state forever, or do I want to rise above it? And usually after, I vented and whined and, took the moment to really cry and get into a place of just brokenness, my spirit wouldn't let me stay there. And that's the warrior spirit I talk about, because it just wouldn't let me stay in that moment. It's almost like the pain turned into power, and everything that the story gave me turned into motivation. So that's when I started to realize, I'm transitioning into warrior. I'm transitioning into the truth about who I am. I'm not the type of woman, and I've met so many men and women who are not the type of people to stay as victims. It's sad, and you have stories and things you've gone through, but you can't stay there. If you choose to stay.
Right, but then here's a question, and people might think, how do you know? How do you know you're a victim? Because some people don't know that they're a victim. They go through every day like it's a normal thing, and people are like, no, that's not right. And they go, no, these are fine. Mm-hmm. How do you know? When do you know that you're a victim?
When you start to learn more about yourself, the more time you spend with yourself is the more time you get to discover your true state. So when you're in an isolated place or an isolated time in your life where you begin to look within, you look at yourself and you start to notice there's certain patterns. There are certain things about me that keep repeating itself. There's certain situations I keep getting into. There are certain relationships I keep finding myself in. You start to notice that there are patterns that you keep encouraging and enabling. And that's when the truth is, you're a victim of that journey. You're a victim of that story. I think that's the moment you realize.
Right. So then, the reason I wanted you on the show as well, because we talked about your hardships and what you went through. But then at the end of the day, you're not with a person to say, oh, let me just wallow in it. The whole purpose of my podcast show is to show people that you go through struggles and then you learn from them and then you can be great again.
That's right.
So when did you start your process to say, okay, you know something? That's it. It's my turn to be great again.
Yeah, we always hear people say, or, family or friends, or we always hear motivational speakers say, there's greatness inside you. You have potential. We always hear that. It's only when you start to see yourself in that place of greatness can you actually activate the greatness within you. So for myself, it was in the place of brokenness that I found myself. I had to get to a place of complete brokenness where I really didn't have much to give myself because I kept making the worst mistakes. I kept making the wrong choices based on being a victim. It was in a place of brokenness that I realized that there was no way that my life was coming to an end, even if I tried for it. So I was very suicidal, and I tried different things to take myself out, and it just wouldn't happen. And that's almost like you need to choose how you want to proceed. So my choice was to choose life. When I chose life and to live abundantly and to live fully, that's when I started to see greatness come out of me. My entire mindset needed a shift. I needed to change the way I was seeing situations. I needed to change the way I was seeing myself. See, the crazy thing is people will tell you who you are. Along the journey, we meet a lot of people, including family, who constantly tell you who you are.
You mean good and bad, or just all good or all bad? Because
good and bad.
Okay, right? This is what people forget. Not everybody should be in your life at certain points of your life.
Exactly, and that's the thing we don't realize, because some people we've been attached to for a very long time. So we accept what they say to us, and it comes like it's maybe a good thing, but it's really not. It's toxic and it's not good for us. And just like when you eat garbage, you feel garbage, So it's the same thing. Like we have people in our lives that are, even family members who are very negative, but because we've gotten so used to them, we justify what they say to us. And sometimes you need to realize who you are. See, if you don't know who you are, you can't tell people who you are, one, and you don't understand the greatness within you because you don't know who you are. Getting into a place of isolation and asking yourself, what kind of person do I actually want to be? What do I want of myself? If I was to drop every title today, everything that people ever said to me, everything that they tell me of who I am I? Is getting back to your core, to understanding the reason why you're here, your purpose. See, you can't step into greatness and you can't take the next flight if you don't understand the power within you.
So you're saying that I have to understand myself first before I can move on? Do I have to have self-worth, or what do I have to do first?
Absolutely. You definitely need to understand yourself. And self-worth is huge, because if you don't value the essence of who you are and what your mind can create, what potential you have within you, what gifts you have within you, you can't offer the world anything. And you definitely cannot celebrate greatness because you won't see yourself in that state. So starting with self is probably the best place to start.
Right, because it's hard, because I tell the story before. Mm-hmm. Once I went to, when you go to the movie theater and you see somebody sitting by themselves, mm-hmm. and you go, oh man, they're lonely or got nobody. You feel sorry for them.
Right.
And then, I went through some stuff in my life, mm-hmm. and I was like, a breakup, and I felt sad, and I thought, something, I'm going to go catch a movie.
Yeah.
And then I realized I'm one of those guys sitting in the movie theater by myself. But then I realized mm-hmm. it wasn't by myself. I was taking time for me
Yeah.
to enjoy the movie, to enjoy me, to be learn to enjoy myself. But a lot of people can't do that. They feel awkward.
Yeah, because we are in a state in society where we need validation, we need people, but your true self, you can only see that when you are by yourself. And just like you're saying with the movies, I remember a couple years ago I decided to focus completely on myself, completely on myself. And so one of the things I challenged myself to do was to take myself to the movies by myself and to go to dinner by myself. I was nervous. I was so scared. Exactly what I thought was, what will people think? Oh, look at that girl. Look at how sad. Like, she must have got stood up. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. And I went to see Kevin Hart because he makes me laugh. So I was like, I'm doing this. And I sat down and I started to watch the movie. It was funny, but there are moments I looked around and I was like, there's no one to laugh with. And I'm like, oh, I can hear myself laugh. You know what I mean? Like, it was awkward and very, strange. But when I left, I felt so good. Just like you're saying, it was like, there's a liberation when you can be okay with just you. And what I've done from there is I take myself away often. I may check into a hotel for a couple of days, or I just take myself away, and I'm okay with it. And I've learned that it's only in those moments can I really hear my thoughts and see through myself and just remove all those labels and all the titles that people give me, or all those expectations that people require of me. Just drop all of that, and only in those moments can I come up with the best ideas. I do so much writing in those moments, and I get to hear my thoughts, and it's just you're gonna rise on different levels of greatness, and you got to start somewhere. So it's not going to be the same as someone else's, but you have to allow yourself to hear your thoughts, to hear yourself, and really value yourself so greatly. Because when your greatness comes out and your full potential comes out, it's going to benefit and it's going to help so many people. So why not get your healing first? Why not get out of your brokenness, and then you're able to speak to people in the same place.
Okay, so listen, we're going to take a quick break, but then after the break, I want to help our listeners and let you tell them, okay, you gone through that, you realize that you need to uplift yourself. How did you start to be your greatness? How did you start, like, step by step? What did you do to become the warrior that you are now? A publisher, an author, you're going to your life coach.
Yeah.
Right after the break, tell us, okay, step one, I did this. Then I realized I did this. We'll be right back.
Perfect.
Hey, it's okay if you're driving or too busy to take notes. Charles has your parachute packed with all the info you need to jump into success. Check out the links section for all the tools you need to land safe. Now, let's keep falling with Charles and his special guest.
All right. So yes, if you missed anything we're talking about, please hit the link, subscribe, and then you can always find all of our notes, our show notes and our little backdoor secrets that Cam is going to give us right after the show. Okay. So Cam,
Yes.
let us know, how did you do step by step to become, I would say a person that is all over. You've traveled all over. Your book's been all over. And then you're writing the second book.
Yes.
What did you do for your steps?
I start every day with being very intentional. So I decide the intent for the day. So for me, intentional behavior, intentional thoughts, when you can understand what it is you're intending to do that day, that month, that year, it sets you straight, at least, like it gives you an outline for yourself. And so being intentional is absolutely important. Once you're intentional, you now have put yourself on almost like a chart. Like you're holding yourself accountable, right? Because you're thinking, this is, I value me, so I want to honor my own thoughts. I want to honor my own words. And so when you intend to do something, the next move would be, okay, to decide now, how am I going to do this? And that's when you begin to speak out the things you want to accomplish, speak out the things that you want to happen for you that month or that year, whatever it is. And it's almost like, we say our word is our bond, but is our word our bond to ourselves? Can you trust your words? Can you trust yourself? We can't expect people to honor their words and honor what they say to us if we can't even, honor ourselves in that way. So
you're saying that what? So you're saying that we will say something and then go back on ourselves, or
always? I feel like, I've done this before where, I have goals and I have dreams and I don't want to solidify them because I'm nervous that they may not happen. So I just kind of vaguely say it, but it's the truth in my heart. Like, I really want to accomplish that, right? But I think we just don't give ourselves enough place to understand that we are powerful beings and we have the power to say, to speak into situations and speak what we want. And so we kind of, vaguely say, well, yeah, one day I'd like to do this, and we just kind of, just make it like, it's not a big deal. But in your heart, that's your dream. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to accomplish. So we got to start, speaking. I do this thing in the mirror in the mornings where, I'm in the washroom and I'm looking in the mirror and I speak to myself. And I say what I want for that day and I speak into what I want to accomplish. And some days, listen, I don't make it to the mirror. I don't want to see myself. I have nothing to say to myself. In fact, I want to feel down that whole day and just please don't, I have my moments. But But those moments that I have, through those days or those dark times, someone always comes and speaks into my spirit. And then sometimes nobody comes. And I got to be the one that I got to rise from that place, from those moments.
So the only thing I'm going to ask you is, when you go to the mirror, right? And you talk to yourself, have you ever answered back?
Yeah, because I'm asking myself. And I've gotten to a place where in the past I wouldn't answer back because, again, I don't value my answer. Now I value what I say. I believe in the words I say to myself.
So if you say, okay, today I'm going to write 2 chapters in my book, and then you say to yourself, what? I'm going to say, I'm challenging you to do a chapter today. 2 chapters, it may be a little unrealistic for me, right? So see, I know myself now that I know what unrealistic goals look like. So I won't sabotage myself if I won't do it because I've done it, and then at the end of the day, I feel guilty, I feel bad, I feel like, I was a loser that day, I was lazy, I didn't make it. And I don't like that feeling. So I try not to sabotage myself. I would say, you know what, today, you're going to do a chapter today because it's in you, you got it. What you have inside of you today needs to come out. And today's the day that you're going to speak to that. That's something I would say, yeah. Okay, I got you. Okay, so then part 2, what do you do?
And then from there, I would, I plan out my day. A part of my day is also, just being in meditation and being in a place where I'm very conscious of my thoughts throughout the day. So even if I'm speaking to someone or, I'm in a meeting and someone's speaking to me, I'm very aware of the words they're using and the words I'm using. Because starting my day off being intentional means that throughout the day, I have to be aware of where my mind is taking me. And some days, it's a complete fail. So my mind will, wander off and I'll start worrying about something and then I'm just lost for the day. It's happened where there's no recovery that day and I just need the day to be over. And then there are days where I'm very conscious of what's being spoken to me and what I'm saying because they also give life to the future, and they give life to the rest of the day. And if I'm going to be writing a chapter at some point today, I can't let anything sabotage me. So if I believe certain people are toxic, they're not the people I'm going to be speaking to that day. I'm just going to avoid it. I'm going to avoid that conversation, or I'm going to find a way to, eliminate a long process of a conversation. So I'm going to protect my peace, and that's very important to me. So I'm intent.
So done. You said something that's interesting. You said if somebody is toxic, you're gonna not talk to them today.
Yeah.
So you have toxic people in your life.
Yes.
So you don't get rid of them. You keep them, or is this more like it's somebody that you can't really get rid of, but so you're not going to
deal with them. There's certain people I can get rid of, and then there are other people. I feel like when you decide for yourself that you want to move forward, you want to, you have things you want to accomplish. I feel like just as good comes to you, bad can be attracted to you also. So here are the distractions. They're what I consider distractions, or kind of like roadblocks or detours, and you have to identify who those people are. Usually, I will take out every toxic person. But there's certain people, even within family, that you can't really get rid of, and they just find a way to say something to you, right? It could be the simplest line, and then if you're not strong enough, it takes you down. It takes your spirit down.
Right.
It, demolishes your entire plan. It's a loss that day, right?
Right. And what people need to understand, it's not necessary that they do it on purpose.
Right.
It's just their nature. Exactly. They said something, and you're like, really? You're gonna say that to me now? Like, they see a picture. Okay, it could be example like you're thinking about a book cover picture.
Yeah.
And someone says something, and then you're just like, wow, okay, just do you right off.
Exactly. And that happens all the time. We get thrown off, right? I am so sensitive. Like, that's the reality. I'm so sensitive that I get thrown off so quickly. And so I have to constantly be aware of those type of people, and I have to be aware of myself, because even if someone says something and it doesn't sneak into my spirit right away, later as the day goes, it may pop up at some point, and then I'm weak, and you know what I mean? And it throws me off. So being intentional is important, and then deciding how you want to now carry out that intent. But protecting your peace is everything. So that's something that I focus on, and I try, and I'm very intentional with protecting my peace from people that are toxic or situations. I can't always be, the police at it, but there are certain times that I'm aware of what's happening, and I'm like, no, today, nothing's stealing my joy. It's not going to happen today, and I'm just intentional in that sense. So, like no one's looking out for you. You got to look out for your peace,
Right. So let's move on and talk about this new book. All right. So before we move on, tell somebody what the old book was about, and then a little bit what the new book's about.
So Becoming Warrior, my first book, I published it in 2016, all about just owning your story and taking charge of your life. So having the moment in your life where you decide, what are you choosing, life or are you choosing death? So if you're choosing life, then that means you're going to live fully and you're going to die empty. Everything that's inside of you is going to come out, and you're going to use all those stories and all those things that have happened to you as strength. It's a book about turning pain into power, and that's what Becoming Warrior is. The new book that I'm working on is called Heal Yourself. And it's basically everything we just talked about. It's, we're in a generation where we're, either looking for someone to love us, or someone to give us, or someone to provide something that we feel they're supposed to make us happy, all those kind of things. And, we all have baggage and things we're coming with. And when you acknowledge that nobody's gonna come and save you, you can have certain people who it looks like they're going to save you, and they may have saved you, but the truth is, when you're by yourself and you're going to go to bed, you're by yourself, your thoughts, yourself. So the idea of no one coming to save me, no one coming to heal me, like, it's going to have to be me. I'm going to have to decide how I want to move forward. Everything I desire to do, every dream, every goal, every aspiration is all within the place where I decide how I want to move forward. So heal yourself is really just about us, living in our purpose, but growing and healing and just learning how to deal with the healing process. For everybody, it's different.
So you're saying that we don't need to look for that validation. Yeah. I think a lot of us need validation on everything we do. We need praise, everything we ask for, everything. We're looking for validation. We talked about this on my other podcast shows. We grab that cell phone. Okay, how much likes? Who commented on my picture? Right. We're looking for that validation. So you're saying that with this new book, it's going to help us to learn, say, hey, validation is great, but if you just check your own box, you know what I mean? You put your own happy faces on. Sure. You know what I mean? Give yourself your own emojis, then
it's so
we're good to go,
exactly.
Right?
It's like, what do you think of yourself? Like, do you really need everybody else to be on your side for you to move forward? How do you see yourself? How do you value yourself? So it's exactly what it is. And it's just our human nature to want others to say, you're amazing, that's great, look how awesome you are. But it's a disease also, because then you get stuck in always wanting that, and it's such a distraction from where you should be. So if we can get to a place where we understand healing and how much healing we need for ourselves, then we can operate from that place where, if someone says something to you, that's great. You're just adding to what I already know. You're not saying anything I don't know. And
I think we all need that. Like, you're absolutely correct, because when a man or woman, boy or girl, when they do something, they want somebody to say, okay, at least one person, please notice I changed my hair color. Somebody noticed I changed, I worked out today. I lost 10 pounds. Somebody noticed my arms, or somebody noticed this, right? But like you said, how much is too much? Like, if 3 people say, oh, I like your hair, are you happy with that? Or is there a whole entire office need to come by and say, we like your hair? When do you think too much is too much?
It's destructive when it gets to a place where there are certain people you want to give you that validation. Like, the entire world can say it to you, but in your heart, there's 2 or 3 people, maybe even one person, you need them to say to you, that's really amazing, you look great, or wow, congratulations, and they don't say it.
Okay, so I'm going to help out married couple right now. Okay, men, wives, if you just wake up in the morning and you notice something and you tell your husband or wife, hey, that looks good, or hey, I noticed you did this, I think what it is the validation moves on. Like our kids, like if you have kids, if you tell your kids in the morning, hey, I'm proud of you on that test, or hey, great job on this, then your day's already started with
you don't need
first
that.
Go get it. I don't need anything else.
It's true, because that's what it is, right? Like, if you don't get that, you're not getting the people that are closest to you saying those things to you, then you're looking, and this has been like age-old issue, right? If you're not getting, or even if you're not accepting of yourself, right? Then now you're waiting for everybody else to accept you. And we just don't realize how much power it is that we have, and people also have, when it comes to speaking life to us. Speaking life into our own beings gives us the strength that we need to awaken our spirits in our own truth, and then when people speak life to us, it's the same, they give us strength. But if we depend on that all the time, then the days that you don't have it, you're a complete mess, right?
All right. So then from when we spoke before to now, what have you done to yourself to improve?
Oh my goodness. Like I said, I decided to take myself on a journey of liberation. That's what I called it.
Okay.
Yeah, completely. And that meant ridding myself of every expectation that the people I have around me have on me. So releasing myself from certain situations and certain groups that expected of me was huge for me, because I've always had expectation on my life. From the time I'm a child, even during the Civil War, I was expected to take care of my brother. As we got older, when we were separated from our mother for 3 years, I was expected to take care of my dad, expected to take care of my brother. Like, there was just always an expectation for me to provide and be a certain way. And in being that, I realized I lost so much of myself, because now I have all these titles and labels from people of who I am. And I needed to go within myself. So what I decided to do a couple years ago, it's like 2 years now, was just to, like I said, just spend more time with myself, speak from, my soul, speak from myself. And that's just basically the journey I went on.
Okay, so my Jump listeners know that before I let you go, I have to ask this question. They're all waiting for it, so I'm going to ask it right now. When you leave this earth, what is your legacy? What do you want people to know as what you're leaving as your legacy?
I want people to remember the experience and the encounter that they've had with me, and not for the person that I am, but for the spirit and the being that I am. I want them to remember the moments where I spoke into their spirit and the feeling that they felt. The moment where something inside of you gets ignited and you get a leap within you, and you know that you need to move forward in a certain way. That's what I want the legacy to say. I want legacy to be in such a way where it's just not enough that I'm a good person, because there's so many facets to myself, but I want the people that I leave behind to want to be warriors in their journey. I want them to remember the stage where they were when they were a victim and when they decided to be a warrior. So I really just want people to remember that we all go through things, and even in death, although it may look like a loss, there's no loss in death. You're still winning. If you're taking a step to changing your mindset, you're deciding to live every moment, you're still winning. So there's no loss, even in death.
All right. Now listen, I thank you so much for taking the time out to come on Jump. But before we let you go, let everybody know where they can get your books, where you're speaking. Give us some info.
Definitely. You can find me on Kamshuka.com. That's the website, and there's a lot of information there. And you can also find me on social media. Just look for Kamshuka on Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter, all over the place. But I usually have a event list and the different places I'm speaking at, and dates and things like that. But I constantly update it. So just hit me up and say hi.
All right. So, Jump listeners, we're going to go into the private room and we're going to dive in and ask Kamshuka one quick question that everybody would want to know. So, if you want to know more, we're going to go to the private room. So, Cam, thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening. If you liked the show or have a comment, we would love to hear from you. Join our mailing list, and as always, check out our special deals links below. I hope this has inspired you to look at your life and jump. See you next week.
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? we're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer. Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, hope you had a great time listening to the show. If you think I did a great job, please buy me a coffee. I still got a lot of work to do. We would love to hear from you, your feedback, so please click the link and leave us a review. You can help us grow by following us on all social media platforms and sharing this link. Once again, it's time for you to jump. Success is waiting.